All right, so it is the next day. We've made it here to the coast. Sun's just about to set. We're here in Bandon, Oregon. We had a beautiful drive over, made a quick pit stop in Winston, Oregon to stop at the wildlife safari there and see the animals. The wife had never been there, so I wanted to make sure we stopped. Saw that while we were coming through. But other than that, it's been a super scenic drive out here. Lots of pretty views. I've never actually been out this way. I've never been to Bandon, so it's awesome to come here and see this for the first time and see this beautiful sunset. It's just super nice out right now. There's a lighthouse back here. The weather is great, but we're gonna go ahead and get back on the road, see what we can see before the sun sets, and then we're stopping tonight in Crescent City, California. That's gonna be our base camp for the next few days while we explore the coast in the Redwoods. Okay, so it's just about 10 o'clock actually, and we just showed up to our Airbnb. I'll show you guys around, then we're gonna eat and probably go to bed, and we'll pick this up in the morning, but let's take a look. All right, so this is a bit different than the camper. This is the living area, pretty nice. Nice big kitchen, big table. Everything's super nice in here. Check this out, this is the best thing. Oh. That's a microwave. That's kind of crazy. Okay. Weird. Okay, bedroom through here, super nice as well. Bathroom and washroom and a little back area back into the kitchen. So yeah, that's a quick little tour of where we're staying. That's not what this trip's about. It's about the scenery, and we will pick that up in the morning. Well, that was a good breakfast, a little bit different than usual when we're out camping. Today's plans really don't have any set agenda. We're gonna explore around the town here in Crescent and just kind of see what's here, and then we're gonna make our way south and check out the state park we were gonna stay at when we were originally planning to camp, just see what that's like. Maybe we'll come back to that spot in the future with the truck and camper. Then from there, we're gonna head south to Eureka. It's probably the southernmost point we're gonna get to on this trip. We're gonna explore the town there, probably have lunch, and just stop along the way, check out the beaches, and just really take our time and sightsee. Then on the way back, we'll probably stop and do some redwood stuff. So definitely looking forward to, yeah, just exploring around here, seeing the coast, spending some time next to the ocean. Alright, so we were going to try and go to this lighthouse in the background, but the tide is actually coming in quite quick, and this little pathway right here goes underwater when the tide comes up, so I don't think we're going to have enough time right now. They don't open till 10, which is kind of a bummer, but we might try and come back tomorrow and check it out. But for now, we're just taking in the views, and it is beautiful out here, but we're probably going to get back on the road, keep heading south. So we just left the town of Eureka. We stopped and had a quick lunch at In-N-Out. We were going to hang around there for a little bit, but we discovered there is another Redwoods drive here about an hour south of Eureka. So it's just about 4 o'clock right now. We're going to boogie down there and check that out. Okay, so we just pulled off the highway and now we're going down the Avenue of the Giants Road. It's just so cool driving through these big groves of redwoods and sequoias. It feels like every few hundred feet you see these giant trees and you just want to stop and check out every one of them. It's hard to even convey the scale of these trees in here. We just stopped here at the Founder's Grove to take a look at the Founder's Tree, which is apparently the 5th tallest in this area. It is absolutely massive. It is so hard to convey the scale of these trees. Even just looking at them online, you really can't have an appreciation for just how big these are unless you come and see them for yourself. But this is a cool little loop and there are giant trees everywhere. So we just pulled off the Avenue of the Giants and got back on the 101 to head back towards Crescent. We started just a little after 4 and now it's 6:15, so it took about 2 hours to do that, kind of mosey our way through. Definitely worth it. Super glad that we came down this far south and took our time to go through there. That is a must if you're in this area. Drive that road. It's absolutely incredible, but it's about 6:16 right now. And yeah, we're gonna cruise up and see if we can't find somewhere cool to watch the sunset and get home a bit earlier tonight because we're gonna start super early tomorrow morning. Alright, so here's why we didn't take the truck down to California. So driving over the pass, I had some lights pop up on the dash. 4 low and 4 high were flashing. Traction control and ABS lights were on solid as well. I'm not sure exactly what that meant. Did some Googling, thought it might have been maybe a wheel speed sensor. I tried unhooking the battery, letting it sit for a little bit. And rehooking it back up and continuing on the drive, and the lights came right back on. So we made a quick appointment at a dealership over in the valley. They were able to get us in for at least a diagnostic. That did confirm that the wheel speed sensor in the back here had an anomaly. Upon getting underneath the truck myself, I'm not sure exactly how the Toyota dealership didn't see the wear marks on the exhaust here, but as soon as I took a peek under, now that I knew that it was on this side, I was able to see that. And that pointed to the exhaust rubbing on something, at least the axle. And what I found was that the exhaust was kind of pinching the wheel speed sensor harness between the axle and the exhaust. and it rubbed through. And so what happened is, over larger bumps, the wire was contacting the exhaust and shorting out, and that's what was turning the lights on the dash of the truck. So I thought that was probably the worst of it. I took some tape, put it over the wire, went and drove around the block a few times. That fixed the issue with the lights. It was no longer shorting out. The dealership did say it was totally fine to drive with this going on. I just may lose access to four-wheel drive and ABS. Wasn't a huge deal since the weather was nice. There was no rain. So we were thinking about continuing on the trip anyways. But I took another look now that I knew where the issue was, and I noticed that the exhaust was also rubbing on the hard brake line. It wore a pretty decent flat spot in the hard brake line where the tape is here in this image. Put the tape there just to kind of keep track of any more wear. I had bent the hangers for the hard line just to get it out of the way a little bit. That did seem to help, but you can tell there's just totally not enough clearance with this exhaust over the axles. This is aftermarket exhaust, so the shop, maybe it was done a long time ago. They weren't totally in tune with how to route exhaust for these trucks, but definitely not enough clearance. So this wasn't even the worst part. Looking here, these two rubber soft lines that connect the rear brakes to kind of the lines that go up to the brake master cylinder, these lines were rubbing on this exhaust that cuts over to the driver's side. So now this is definitely not routed properly. Taking a look at some TRD exhaust, it's routed totally different. Gives you ample room between the top of the axle and the exhaust. This one shouldn't have been routed this close, but either way, both of these lines were rubbing on the exhaust. There was black marks on the exhaust. Again, another thing that I'm not sure how the Toyota dealership didn't notice when it was up on the lift, but I don't know exactly. So yeah, I took some tape here. I actually cut up a water bottle into a couple thin little like shield pieces and taped them to the brake lines here just to give us a little buffer to get the truck back home. So yeah, with all this, it just didn't feel safe to be driving the truck. There's actually been instances of catastrophic kind of rear brake failure due to poor exhaust routing just like this on these trucks. So wasn't willing to risk it there and take it on the trip and put us in danger or anything like that. So got it back home and yeah, went with the other car and kept our plans anyways. It ended up being an awesome trip. Oh, and you can see here that the truck is not like super squatted or anything. It's riding perfectly level, so that's not the issue. This camper doesn't weigh a ton. We still had plenty of room between the bump stops and the frame. I'm actually not even sure if you could even get to the bump stops without hitting the exhaust. So yeah, definitely a routing issue. We're getting it corrected soon, and hopefully we'll be back on the road with the truck soon. Anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed, definitely please consider trying to get to 10,000 before the end of the year. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. There will be a part 2 coming up, so stay tuned for that.